Rats are running around. People are lying on the same ground. Makeshift tents and cardboard boxes line the sidewalks. The smell of urine and human feces permeates the air. Used syringes and piles of trash are everywhere. We're not reporting from a third world country. We are reporting from the United States of America, the richest country in the world. And we're reporting from its most popular tourist centers, like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. These cities are now being compared to some of the worst slums in the world. The homeless people who live in California are blamed for the diseased streets and the declining tourism and business. Infectious diseases, some that ravaged populations in the Middle Ages, are resurging in California and around the country, and they're hitting the homeless population especially hard. Hepatitis A, which spreads primarily through contact with feces, infected more than 1,000 people in Southern California last year, resulting in 20 deaths. Our homeless crisis is increasingly becoming a public health crisis, said California Governor Gavin Newsom in his State of the State speech in February, citing outbreaks of hepatitis A in San Diego County, syphilis in Sonoma County, and typhus in Los Angeles County. Public health officials and politicians are using terms like disaster and public health crisis to describe these outbreaks. They are warning that these diseases can easily jump beyond the homeless population. Absolutely unacceptable, said Supervisor Hillary Ronen in San Francisco. We're losing tourists, we're losing conventions. All of this is happening because we aren't addressing the root cause, which is we need more temporary beds for street homelessness. We're not going to make a huge dent in this problem unless we deal with some underlying major social problems and issues. There's a human tragedy happening in San Francisco. Currently, the city officials in San Francisco are searching for money to pay for 1,000 additional beds for the homeless. But is this really the root cause of homelessness? The city spends more than $60 million annually for street environmental services alone. That means removing trash and disinfecting the streets where the homeless live. The cities with the worst homeless problems are New York City, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. People are dying on the streets, and tens of thousands are living in tents right next to schools, next to playgrounds, residential areas, and businesses. The man in the sleeping bag could easily be your father. The man pushing the overflowing shopping cart, talking to an invisible audience, could be your brother, a friend, or even you. Many people think homelessness is a choice, and that most homeless people choose to live on the streets. But this is a myth. According to the homeless census, 93% of homeless respondents want affordable housing, but 68% couldn't afford rent, and 50% lost their job and have no income. There are hundreds of promising programs and organizations working with the homeless population, but the overall progress is marginal, and the crisis still persists and even grows in some areas. We think the homelessness crisis is a national disgrace and something needs to be done. It is important that we act now and not wake up in the near future wondering why we didn't do more when we still had a chance to stop this catastrophic development. The National Alliance to End Homelessness reports more than 500,000 people in the U.S. are homeless. 10% of the homeless population are veterans. This is a gigantic problem, and politicians, business people, journalists, and the public should wake up and act. But what can we do, and where should we start? We are a team of researchers, psychologists, educators, digital media experts, performance coaches, and business consultants from ITD International and the United States Online University on a mission to find permanent solutions for ending homelessness. That's why we started a research project. We wanted to base our solution on facts and not opinions or assumptions. Our first task was to study all relevant statistics from government agencies and private organizations. We interviewed homeless people, but also the leaders of homeless shelters. Our research was very basic and did not produce a lot of statistical data, but enough substance to get into action and produce useful programs. We relied primarily on data from the National Alliance to End Homelessness and other trustworthy organizations. Our focus was on the military town of San Diego. During our research, we learned that the Department of Defense pumps billions of dollars into the area every year, and that plays a huge role in San Diego County's economic development. Between the Navy and the Marines, there are around 80,000 military personnel in San Diego County. Almost a quarter of the jobs in the region are related to the military. Why is there not enough money to provide permanent housing for the 1,500 homeless veterans in San Diego? We tried to get an answer that makes sense, but all we got from City Hall were plans, excuses, and promises. We cannot afford more shelters, was the answer. Unfortunately, it all comes down to money. Our research shows shelters are not the solution for ending homelessness, but they are part of the problem if they are not combined with the right services. Some organizations see the whole picture and run excellent programs with great success. We interviewed some of them to find out what needs to be done to come up with an optimized model that can be easily replicated.
We got 324 men and women in here and a bunch of dogs and a couple of cats. And we live here in as much peace and harmony as we possibly can. All your resources are here, all your medical care is here, your showers here, your food's here, your medications. We have even pet services to take care of our dogs and cats. And also we've had over 320 plus people find housing here. The problem is there is no low-income housing in San Diego or in San Francisco, in any city. We've had 70 cities come here to see this because they all face the same thing. Got lots of people that are poor and no place for people to live. You know, so this is a starting point. This is a starting point for people to be. So this is really a big place for healing. If you really don't want to be out in the street anymore, this is a place for you to start the process. Without this facility, your only option is the street and all the consequences that come from the street. Robbing, stealing, getting beat up, police harassment, jail, and all those things. So this is a good opportunity for people to start the process of recovery. It's the only opportunity, actually. We need more low-income housing. We're doing our best to build it and find it. So we have landlord incentive programs where we're paying double rents, double deposits and stuff just to get our foot in the door, get people in. But that's a challenge too, because in San Diego and in LA and in New York and in San Francisco and all these cities, there is no low-income housing. Affordable housing in these cities is $1,700 to $2,200 a month. Hell, we can't afford that. I can't afford it. You can't afford that. We have folks in here on Social Security, that make $600 or $700 a month. And we tore down all of what was called SRO, single room occupancy. Tore those down during redevelopment, and it was supposed to be rebuilt, and it never was. And those are the places that rented for $300 or $400 a month. Okay, but we don't have those anymore, and they didn't replace them. And there's nothing on the horizon to build those. We built Alpha Square, which is 204 units. We need another 100 Alpha Squares. We need another 20,000 units. So we just keep doing our best. Alpha Square was $50 million to build 4 years ago. To build that same building today would be $120 million because of land costs and construction costs go through the roof. So like I said, there's never going to be enough money, and I don't think there's ever going to be enough political will to do it. So the bottom line, we used to have a place where people can be safe, okay? Safe, and get their heads together and be around a bunch of other people that are in the same situation and care about each other and just start the process of recovery. We're way better here than we are out there. It's that simple.
why should somebody on the East Coast invest in the Alpha Project?
Well, they have the same issues there. They have the same issues in New York. There's Philadelphia. They've all been out here. Florida, every major city, and even small cities, have hundreds of people, if not tens of thousands of people, on the streets. And just, we're doing stuff for the rest of the world, and we're not taking care of our own house first. And I'm not a isolationist by any means, but I sure as hell believe that before we can preach, morality to the rest of the world, we certainly should be taking care of our own folks first. And we've got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of children living on the streets. I mean, that's just despicable. So, we need to get our priorities straight. I don't have any faith that that's going to happen politically, because it seems like they just, the political parties, all they do is bitch and moan and complain at each other and attack each other and don't really care about what happens to us every day. So I think it's just up to us to take care of each other and stay together and do the best we can do.
So Donnie, do you offer programs that are different from other transition centers?
We do. There are about 300 other rescue missions around the country that are like us. And what I mean by that is that they are gospel-centered. What that means is they take no government funding, and they communicate the gospel openly and clearly and completely. We do have some differences in the way that we all operate. We tend to focus on 12-month rehab. There's a number of other missions, like LA, for example, that does a lot of day centers. There's emergency shelters, and there's just women and children, and there's just drug and alcohol recovery. Our common denominator here, the thing that we're driving towards, are those that are experiencing homelessness. And then whatever the issue is, we address it. Other missions, their program model is a little bit different than that. But that to us is what's most important and what we're trying to accomplish.
What is it about the program here that helped you succeed?
The program, it's kind of hard to put it in words. Everybody that's a part of the San Diego Rescue Mission, from the CEO to staff to everybody that has anything to do with the mission, they show you encouragement, they show you love, they teach you, they give you all the tools that's needed, that are necessary to help rebuild your life back.
So you've been president now at the San Diego Rescue Mission for 2 years. During that time, have you thought about shifting some of the resources in a different way than from before?
Yeah, we've made some major changes in the 2 years that I've been here, only because I've sort of narrowed in on what we're supposed to be about. Don't believe that God's called us to do everything here in this city, but I do believe He's called us to a unique part of helping to change the state of homelessness in San Diego. And what that is for us is 12-month rehabilitation. When I got here, they were known as an organization that had 10 programs, 1 mission. Well, starting October 1st of this year, we will be 1 program, 1 mission. And that program for us is that we want to get you off the streets permanently. And so give us 12 months. Don't look at the rescue mission as a prison or a hospital. Look at it as a retreat center. And if you really want to get off the streets, we have everything in our building to help you get off the streets permanently. And so we're shifting all of our program philosophies, we're shifting all of our resources, all of our time, and all of our staff towards 12-month rehabilitation.
Nice. Donnie, if a perfect center could be built, and let's use our wildest imagination, one that would accommodate everybody, if the funds and the resources were there and available, could it be done?
That's a complicated question, because there's a lot to what people are experiencing living on the streets. It's not one size fits all. They're not all on the streets for the same reasons. Every person that comes into our programs has a different story. However, I do believe that faith and the Christian component and Bible study and teaching needs to be an integral part of anything that we do. And I think ultimately that's what's going to change the state of homelessness, is that men and women have this encounter with the Creator that ultimately changes the way they view themselves, they view the world, and they view God. So I do think a place could be built but it would be a combination of meeting the needs on a daily basis, short term, and addressing the needs long term of what's going on in their heart that led them to life on the streets. And all of that's got to be wrapped in, better yet, it's got to be centered in the good news of Jesus Christ.
And what is it about the program that has helped you succeed?
First and foremost was having a connection with God. And it's something I thought I had for years, but my interpretation of God was entirely different than what I've experienced here at the mission.
It's my understanding that this broadcast is going to be seen all over the country. Lots of people are going to have the opportunity to see what we're doing here in San Diego. And I was asked, why should somebody that doesn't live in San Diego support the San Diego Rescue Mission? And I think that's easy. There's 500,000 people experiencing homelessness in our country. 200,000 are actually living on the streets. They'll sleep on the streets tonight. We happen to be the 4th largest homeless population in the country, and I actually believe we'll be 3rd before too long because of the number of people here and because of the cost of housing. By supporting the San Diego Rescue Mission, you're supporting a model that works. It's 12-month rehabilitation. It's not just meeting the needs, it's not just short-term, it's not just enabling, it's rewiring what's going on in somebody's heart so they can ultimately get off the streets permanently. And I think we have a model here that we can replicate throughout the country.
We also interviewed several homeless people and volunteers to see their problems from their perspective.
Do you have any goals or any aspirations, vision for what you'd like to do?
All right, Reese, I'm 58, so there's not much, just get me off the street, man. That'll work. And get me a job. I mean,
sure.
Any kind of job. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I've been a laborer. I worked at FedEx. I worked in the mailroom. But I don't think I can do a laborer no more. I'm too old for that. But I don't know, whatever, maybe a security job or something,
So as far as the city and the government here, are they doing a lot to help you just manage day to day?
I think it's more the people. I think if it was up to the city, no offense, City of San Diego or most people who got positions in high places in society, I think a lot of you would rather throw us in the garbage and go like that because you think you're so much better for whatever reason. I don't know why.
If I don't have the desire to get off the street, if I've gotten comfortable here or if I've gotten complacent with my situation, then it doesn't matter what the city does, I'll still be here.
When you come to a homeless shelter, don't just talk to the staff. Talk to the people. Talk to the ones that stay there. Get to know them. Maybe you'll have a little piece of heart for them more than you do already. Maybe something can actually get done, especially for the veterans who fought for you to have that position you have. So fight for the ones who fought for you.
Before we reveal what the perfect model for a homeless transition center should look like, we need to identify the stakeholders in the process. Major players are, first of all, our politicians. They need to put the money where their mouth is. We are fully aware that fighting in the war on homelessness is not glamorous. Political leaders need to show solutions within their term of office. But there are no quick results. That's why our politicians prefer finger pointing. It's cheaper. It does not cost any political capital. Our leaders don't want to think out of the box because it is much easier to just ignore the homeless and argue against practical solutions. A plan to end homelessness would cost money we don't have, is their first argument. Think a moment about this and try not to get angry. The Department of Defense cannot pass a financial audit and buried a report detailing $125 billion in administrative waste over 5 years. This amount of money could potentially end homelessness for all veterans nationwide and then some. We think it's time for our politicians to get their priorities right. The next group of stakeholders are business people. They don't like people sleeping in front of their businesses and the tents and the trash piles lining the streets. Some of them recognized that business communities play a major role in this fight, and they invested heavily in the Alpha Project and similar programs. Healthcare providers are an important part of the solution, but only if they are willing to work pro bono in the homeless transition centers. Physicians, dentists, clinical psychologists, addiction counselors, and health coaches are necessary to meet the needs of these homeless individuals. The churches carry responsibility for the spiritual well-being of the families and individuals on the street. They need to be open, understanding, and ease suffering without casting judgment, and recognize the value and worth of each person as a unique being. The police are in a difficult situation, but are a critical ingredient in solving the homeless crisis. The officers are at the front line when homeless camps have to be closed down because of health risks. They are the ones who take the heat and calm the emotions and frustrations. The shelters and food banks are also stakeholders, but they have to change significantly in the era of ending the homeless epidemic. Now we know the primary stakeholders and can progress to reveal the homeless transition center of the future. We call it the Noah Center because it is an ark of hope. It is a way out of temporary housing in 6 months. During this time, clients receive medical, psychological services, drug counseling, nutritious meals, competency-based job training, financial advice, family therapy, spiritual guidance, and goal setting in a proactive environment. So far, we did not build a Noah Center, but we created the blueprint for one that can easily be duplicated. It is based on the most successful existing transition centers. What's different with the Noah Center model? First of all, it is highly integrated with all the needed services. Some of the existing centers provide part of the services, but are not very effective with all of them. One important example is the job training. It is often not more than a job placement service. The homeless need more. They have to be prepared to compete with other job seekers. A rigorous program that converts them into job contenders would give them a chance in our demanding business climate. We developed such a program. With the help of the finest business coaches, motivators, educators, authors, communicators, and digital media experts, we created the Job Contender Project. The Job Contender consists of a library with more than 100 videos in which our coaches share their advice on how to succeed in the job search process by unlocking the full potential of homeless people in regards to optimizing their employability quotient. They also teach how to build on a network of supporters and uncover the art and science of finding a job. This powerful approach is well-researched and competency-based. Job Contender is a not-for-profit project sponsored by businesses and available right now for homeless transition centers at no cost. Our holistic approach to end homelessness is based on a multifaceted program called Journey to Wellness. In this program, we introduce life-changing ideas, concepts, protocols, techniques, and resources that will help homeless people to restore health, fitness, and well-being the natural way. The Journey to Wellness program does not provide solutions based on quick fixes. It fosters critical thinking and decision-making among the participants. It helps them find the right solutions for adapting healthier lifestyles. All change is really self-change. Imposing solutions on people may deliver some temporary benefit, but sustained change won't happen unless the person owns the process of change. Change is a highly individual and ongoing process. Most changes that people make are influenced by family members or friends, but not by the government. This tells us that lasting behavioral changes result from functional relationships and emphatic conversations. This is why we need wellness ambassadors in all walks of life who function as trusted guides within a collaborative partnership to help people make the changes needed to restore and maintain wellness. Wellness ambassadors assist people in finding new ways to inspire healthier habits, develop better relationships, and reach their goals by providing support, encouragement, and education. Wellness ambassadors help people develop individualized strategies for improving their eating habits, exercise routines, family life, emotional well-being, and ultimately, the outlook of the future. We are convinced that total health and wellness cannot be accomplished if a person's spiritual health is not restored. If a person's values, beliefs, and purpose in life are not rooted in faith in a higher being, he or she probably sees no need for forgiveness. They don't see non-judgmental behavior, love, compassion, kindness, hope, meaningful relationships, respect, and an optimistic approach to life. We don't push a specific religious denomination, but we want to show ways how homeless people can improve their spiritual lives by finding purpose and fulfillment, hope, belief, and faith. This is where the local churches are challenged. Nothing is more depressing and health degrading than a life without hope. A person who is hopeless and worried about the future is only steps away from depression. Numerous studies have shown that feelings of homelessness can lead to mental disorder and a high risk of suicide. Another expression of hopelessness is anxiety. Journey to Wellness includes powerful methods to lead people out of this mental state and give their lives new meaning and purpose. Hope gives people the strength to escape the black hole of depression. It takes the powerlessness away and brings back positive emotions and a new outlook on life. The Journey to Wellness program differentiates itself from similar programs in 4 key areas. It bypasses the theoretical tendencies. It is based on cutting-edge research. It leads to sustainable lifestyles. It offers a solid platform for a fulfilling life. Journey to Wellness is our second not-for-profit project that is available right now for homeless transition centers at no cost. Our ideal model, the Noah Center, is not yet built, but we hope all the stakeholders in San Diego and other cities will come together to take on this challenge. We will gladly provide our expertise and the programs we created. A Noah Center can easily prepare San Diego's homeless veterans and many people who live now on the street for a better tomorrow. But we need a powerful, concentrated action to make this possible, and somebody who acts now. Who will it be?